I think it'd be cool if you got some facial hair and like painted it blue and shaped it like a hatchery. Perhaps the hatchery of our blue Zerg player from the team mTw won the last game. He is mTw.Dimaga. Stop laughing over my intro. How dare you. And up at the top at the 12 o'clock position in the red from the team imbaFXO is a pretty awesome Zerg player, friend of mine. His name is HappyZerg. This guy was a lot of fun to live with for a while in Korea. He practiced like a madman, too.
Headbutt. And there they go.
Yeah,
it's
each other.
It's a storied moment, not often witnessed, but there we have it.
I wonder if they do, to like get through each other like that, if they do like the Superman, if you vibrate so fast you can move your molecules through other things. Haven't you? That's like Superman. There's like this one episode, I think it was Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, from the early 90s. He had to go through a wall, so he like vibrated fast enough that his molecules passed through the molecules of the wall.
There's also the sweet principle of physics, which suggests that if you throw solid objects at each other an infinite number of times, one time they'll actually just pass through each other. So, which is kind of fun. I always assume that that's precisely what's playing out there. But anyway,
that's true.
Here we go. So we do have a CVC, and our last one was, well, maybe not the best one. It ended it very, very quickly. A nice bailing play from Lowly. We're going to see, it looks like HappyZerg actually going to open with Expand first. Same thing coming out of Dimaga.
Yeah. Yep, it's going to be a 16 hatch from Dimaga, 15 hatch from HappyZerg. So Dimaga having that ever so slight economic advantage, but it's really not going to make a huge difference in the long term. But cool to see two Zergs fast expanding like that. That's something you don't see terribly often anymore.
And I definitely like the longer-term ZVZs. It's the ones that just drag on as a Zergling tug-of-war for about 10 minutes or so. That tend to get a little bit boring for me, but this sort of a game could be very interesting. Looks like HappyZerg
pool from Dimaga, 16 pool from HappyZerg as well. Pretty mirrored for now.
And let's see here. Do they both get gas at the same time? I believe so. Yeah, so we're going to see speedlings pretty quickly out of both players.
Well, this could be a really entertaining game, too, because these guys are actually really good friends in real life. They, when I was in Korea and HappyZerg was there, they were talking to each other on Skype all the time. And so I know they play together a lot. They talk a lot. So when you have two friends like that get into a match like this, it's kind of interesting because there's a lot of trickery that tends to happen. So I think we're in for what could be a pretty entertaining game.
Yeah, I definitely believe that, and we'll see what these players have to offer here moving on. I can only hope that we'll move to that stage where they make significant tech switches, tech choices. One player goes all the way through the air, another player, one player goes Mass Muto, another player decides to go up into Roach Infester, and then eventually transition over to Broodlord, something like that. Those are the very exciting, fun, dynamic ZVZs to me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's kind of funny. It's almost like a ZVT opening with what they're doing right now, the hatch first, when you go into getting your queens at the same time, getting speed and all that. But in ZVZ, this is where things kind of really start to deviate. So we're going to see the Baneling Nest come up for each player. Good to stay safe like that, I suppose. And I don't know if either one of them has really scouted each other all that much yet. I suppose they have with their overlords, so
they've seen where the players are at, but Dimaga, as of yet, obviously he can operate under the assumption that with the lack of pressure he's taken now that his opponent clearly has expanded, but he obviously hasn't gotten a direct beat on that, whereas Mr. HappyZerg, he's got a pretty good read on his opponent. Neither player knows of each other's Baneling Nest quite yet, but that may change here as it looks like HappyZerg is going to sneak on by and will get a bead on that Baneling Nest.
Yep, certainly will. Gets those Zerglings right in there. Aha, Baneling Nest. You know what? The top part floats. Is that weird or what?
It is weird,
I always thought there was like a stalk that held it up, but it actually is floating. Look at that. See? Nothing connecting it.
There you go. Unless that's the strongest webbing ever.
It's a pretty disgusting blimp, if you ask me.
Pretty awesome blimp. All right, two Banelings coming up for both players. They're even on supply. They're both actually supply blocked at the exact same time. We just have two Zergling advantage for Dimaga, and that's it. That separates these two players. It is actually remarkable how close they are actually still playing.
Yep, not too different there. Double Evo going up for Dimaga. That's pretty cool. Wouldn't be surprised at all to see him throw down a Roach Warren too and just start going really heavy into Roach upgrades, do some sort of +1 timing. He could also just decide to get really good upgrades for Zerglings and ground units too. He loves Ling Infester play. He loves it. So wouldn't be surprised at all to see him do something like that. HappyZerg, by the same token, likes to kind of stay a little bit heavier on the banelings early on in his EVZs that I've seen. So I think we're going to see him, like, you see doing right there with the single Evo chambers. So just kind of getting some upgrades going. Well, he's getting some more gas to kind of expand into something else. But yep, there's Roach Warren for Dimaga. Roach Warren for both players, actually. But Dimaga is going to have those carapace upgrades, too, which is going to help him a lot.
Yes, it is. That's actually quite the difference right now. And he is actually up by 7 supply at the moment. He's found a way to eke out an extra round of injects in there as well, is what it looks like. So, because it has reflected itself now in economy, and he is starting to kind of shoot ahead in supply.
Yep.
And no damage done for either player yet.
Well, it's kind of like what we saw last game. Dimaga's mechanics and his macro is really, really, really good. It's just amazingly solid. So, except sometimes he lets his Zerglings just blow up like that.
Yeah, that is true. Bye-bye, Banelings. Yeah. It's okay, though. Oh, okay. All right. A round of droning for... looks like one... Okay, one Baneling went down in return, so Dimaga just earns that back.
Yep.
And the second went down as well, so he's actually ahead in that trade. But we have 15 Roaches coming up for HappyZerg, and we just had a big round of drones come up for Dimaga, so we can see reflected in the supply difference.
Yeah, he's going to need to start making some Roaches really soon. He is, but it's going to be a little bit tough. He's going to have 1-1. This carapace upgrade is going to be so important. Dimaga's timing things up so that he can start 2-2 right away, but that is some really aggressive teching. He's going to need to make a lot of Roaches. He's actually going to just need to make nothing but Roaches for a while if he wants to live through this,
And he was so supply blocked. He actually was accumulating a ton of resources and had to make 5 Overlords at a time. So
sounds like a good way to make a lot of Roaches. We'll see.
That's true, but it is quite delayed. He's got 9 more coming up. Only a few are actually on the field right now. Yes, he is going to have those better upgrades, as you mentioned, especially if HappyZerg waits for his +1 to finish up, then that's going to allow both these upgrades to finish for Dimaga and that extra round of Roaches to pop out.
Yep, he's going to need to fight at the Spine Crawler. He might have to just remake his Roach Warren. We'll see, because, yeah, he doesn't want to engage right now. He doesn't have enough Roaches, even though his upgrades are slightly better. And HappyZerg knows that he's pushing in. He's going to soften up some Roaches with those Banelings. Dimaga, though, getting more Roaches out. Now he's got enough.
Yeah, now he's got plenty enough. He is still up in supply. There are a few links here as we have units that are actually continuing to reinforce right now. The better concave does go to HappyZerg, but Dimaga's +1 Carapace is just winning the day at the moment, and HappyZerg is starting to just outright lose this fight.
Yeah, fighting at the Spine Crawler, fighting with that +1 Carapace upgrade, getting the Queen up there a little bit too. All that stuff helped Dimaga defend that push that was a little bit stronger than the army that he had initially, but HappyZerg does need to kind of turn around. In ZVZ, it's just so hard to break your opponent with that, just because they're always going to be reinforcing faster than you are.
Right.
So, I don't know. I think HappyZerg's in trouble here, especially if he keeps continuing to push at this point.
And Dimaga is up in workers considerably, up by 16, and he has layer tech, and he has roach speed coming, and he's about to start outproducing his opponent by a ton. So,
well, looks like HappyZerg's going to try to go for it, but this is not going to work out too well. Dimaga's got the concave, he's got the upgrades, he's got the GG.